Hi, Bad Gamer here! Merry Christmas! Congratulations to Claire Obscure Expedition 33. We all knew it's gonna come, bro. We all knew it's going to happen, and it happened. I wasn't even overthinking this when I was voting myself, actually. You can check the video right here. It's a fun one. You can see what I was predicting, etc. But when it came to Best RPG, I genuinely paused. Like, Best RPG, okay? That's the category that really kicked off this entire idea, this whole video. The first thing I want to do is check the definition. Also, did you guys see Kojima's reaction when they won Best Game Direction? Let's check it out.
And the game award goes to Expedition 33.
He literally goes like, whatever, okay? I mean, it could mean anything, but I don't know. I thought it was amazing. A role-playing game is a game in which players assume and play out the roles of characters in a fictional setting, alright? Players take responsibility for acting out these roles within a narrative, either through literal acting or through a process of structured decision-making regarding characters' development. So that's the first line here on Wikipedia. And if you ask me, yeah, it's very broad, okay? By that definition, a lot of modern games could actually qualify as RPGs. Let's take The Witcher 3, for example. That's obviously an RPG under this definition. You make narrative choices, shape relationships, influence outcomes, and roleplay Geralt within this flexible or moral framework, okay? Then we have Red Dead Redemption 2. What about this? That wouldn't really qualify, because even though you feel like you're role-playing Arthur Morgan, you don't meaningfully change the story, right? You're inhabiting a character, and you're not really shaping one, if that makes sense. Let's go crazier. Is Cyberpunk 2077 an RPG? Well, it kind of sits somewhere in between, if you ask me. You know, you have builds and dialogue choices and some branching outcomes in a way, but the main narrative path is still fairly fixed. And then Elden Ring. That's an RPG almost entirely through system stats and builds and world interaction and player expression, you know? Even though the story itself is, I don't know, opaque and mostly unchanged by your decisions. Then there's Skyrim, a sandbox RPG, right? The narrative is secondary to the freedom, actually, you know, and the exploration, and it's very player-driven, identity-based, and the roleplay, in my opinion, comes from how you exist in the world, not from cutscenes, right? And then you have games like God of War, for example, or I don't know, Horizon if you want, which borrows RPG mechanics, right? Gear and levels, skill trees, but it's still fundamentally linear action games with a predefined characters and predefined stories. So yeah, it's probably safe to say that everyone has their own definition of what a true RPG actually is. And look, I think it's completely fair to argue that Expedition 33 is the better game overall. But when it comes specifically to the title of Best RPG, that's where I strongly disagree. Because if you asked anyone who actually played games in 2025, they tell you it was one of the strongest years we've had in a long, long time, man. But if you don't play games and you only watched, let's assume, the Game Awards, right? You'd walk away thinking that Expedition 33 was the only game that kind of mattered. And that just isn't true, even though it was incredible, right? For me, Kingdom Come Deliverance True is a once-in-a-decade experience. There hasn't been an RPG that filled this specific void in my heart since Skyrim, or maybe even Oblivion, okay? If we're not counting The Witcher. I love The Witcher. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 didn't get anything. Like, absolutely nothing, dude. Like, nothing? Like, right here, we have officially been robbed, okay? People go crazy here. You got 3.6 million views and 2,000 comments on that one. That was crazy. That was also this one. The official Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 account is that it's not my fault. Blame the French and say nothing. Dude, I love it. I mean, and if you think there's drama, I don't want to disappoint you, because actually there was a picture. I'm gonna show it right here. Like, at first I was, whoa, okay? Honestly, I think everyone's cool, okay? There's no real beef here, so relax. The internet just went crazy about this. So here's the thought that started bothering me. If a game wins Game of the Year, shouldn't that already imply it's exceptional across multiple categories? And I really want to hear your opinions on this in the comments, actually. Because there were a few categories where I was sitting there thinking, you know, that doesn't feel quite right, actually. If you're new here, consider joining Bad Gamer Enterprise by smashing that sub button. Okay, like the video, you know the drill. My dream is to become the biggest YouTube gaming channel on this entire platform. Bigger than IGN. And apparently, it only works if you smash that button, bro. I've seen people online argue that Expedition 33 isn't really indie, okay? That's a different conversation. Here's how I look at it. Take Devolver Digital, for example, okay? They're a far bigger, more established publisher than Kepler or Sandfall, and the number of games they've released and how wildly different those games also are is actually kind of insane if you think about it, okay? They literally had their own day at the E3, and nobody ever seriously argued their games weren't indie enough. Not every indie game, guys, has to look tiny and retro or like minimal to count. Some studios just aim higher, and that doesn't magically disqualify them. We've already seen this kind of panic before that happened a little bit with people claiming that BG3 was somehow hurting the RPGs genre because it was raising the bar too much. And looking back, that argument aged terribly. Like that's just a ridiculous take. So honestly, the whole indie debate isn't what bothers me, okay? I think that's kind of weird to even argue about. But what does bother me a little bit is this whole RPG label. The moment KCD2 fully opens up and gives you this control, and it felt like the exact same feeling I felt when I stepped out of the Imperial sewers in Oblivion. That feeling of, like, here's the world, man, do something in it, you know? And it's really hard to explain if you haven't really experienced it, but if you have, then you know exactly what I mean. There's something about that moment that just hits different, man. And this is where the difference between KCD2 and Expedition 33 really matters. Expedition 33 is tightly authored. It's focused, it delivers a powerful narrative and stunning art direction, and incredible music. It excels because of that control, right? But KCD2 is the opposite philosophy. It's about systematic freedom, about player agency, about letting you fail and adapt and roleplay and live in its world, even when that means the experience becomes maybe messy and slow or sometimes even uncomfortable. Expedition 33 asks you to experience a story, and Kingdom Come asks you to exist in one. That's why calling them both RPGs and judging them by the same criteria feels fundamentally wrong to me. And I mean, genuinely congrats. Everyone involved deserves a massive respect for that. I just wish the awards had been spread out in a way that let more games shine for what they specifically do best. Celebrating games in general shouldn't feel like narrowing the conversation, right? But yeah, I don't know. You guys let me know what you think, man. I'm actually interested and curious to hear if that's something that I don't know, I'm overreacting in that sense, or like if it makes sense. Like, have you played Kingdom Come Deliverance 2? What do you think? Do you think they should compete in the same category? I also really wish that the Altars had won something. I was so hoping. I mean, Final Fantasy, of course, sure, yeah, but the Altars, man, I'm actually genuinely sad that the Altars didn't win anything. I made a review on that game. That was my first review, and the only full review on this channel, actually, and it got like 15 views, which is shocking. Like, it's honestly wild. It's such a good game. Go check out the Altars, man, and if you want to support something a little more personal, that video is there too, okay? Go check it out. You won't regret it, I promise. But anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bad Gamer out.